You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up. Keep going.
So, welcome to episode 2 of Wounded. So today we've got a bit of a unique guest on. So over the course of the last few years, where I've been speaking to people and kind of trying to have conversations that matter, because the reason for this podcast, Wounded, is I believe that as we all go through life, we have moments that are great, beautiful. Some of them are hard, difficult, and the complexity of it all. There is this wisdom inside of these wounds. There is something so uniquely, it's like a treasure, but we're so scared to kind of lean into it. But I would just like to kind of welcome today's guest. This is quite an honour for me, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show. So Caitlin, it's weird how we kind of know each other, because we know each other through someone really special.
We do.
And this is gonna be an emotional one.
I can feel it already.
I know. So basically, it's your dad.
My dad.
And I know that wonderful bloke from many years back. We worked together in the same rig offshore. And the minute I met him, it's like, Don, what a presence.
Yeah.
Like 6'4", big bloke.
Big.
You know, big, beautiful, bald head.
It was.
Big, beautiful smile. Big presence. Big moustache.
Big moustache.
Big
the
moustache.
beard.
The beard.
The moustache.
The moustache. But big heart.
Definitely.
Massive heart.
Massive heart.
And so that was the kind of thing for me, you know, in a world where it's so masculine.
Mm-hmm.
It's so like, you know, it can be cutthroat at times. It's hard work. You're away from your life, loved ones, family and friends. But his presence for those years we worked together, it just made being on the rig so much nicer. There was a
lot easier.
Yeah, I could go to him and stuff. But tell me about your dad.
Oh, I don't even know where to start. Oh, he was just, I was a bit emotional already. Like, everybody that he met, everybody loved him. Everyone that I've spoken to, offshore workers and things like that since, like, everyone said everyone would go to Dad. Dad would be the person there on the rig for them. He would come home and he would have to come home and unload to Mum about, he's worried about such and such a person that's out there, and he just cared about everybody, and he would do anything for anyone.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's him. And take the piss.
And take the piss.
And take the piss.
The sense of humour was second to none.
Yeah, he was.
It was something.
No, there's no doubt about that. So what was he like growing up?
He was the best dad ever. And people say that, but you're just like, I think if you know Dad, you know, like, he was like that, but better.
So you're not just like paying lip service to the fact?
No, he was just like, growing up was so family orientated, and Dad hated going away offshore. He hated it.
Really?
He liked his job whatever, he would enjoy it, but he would prefer going away and having 3 solid weeks at home than going out and working a 9-to-5 job. Because that 3 weeks that he was at home, he was just at home.
Yeah.
Whether us as kids made it very friendly.
Well, this is it. You know, I mean, when he came offshore, he'd be like, oh my God.
Those kids.
No, man. Family man to the core, 100%.
Definitely.
And, God, you know, I actually remember one time, like, we were on the rig, and I nearly lost my legs this day.
Oh, gee.
Right.
I bet he loved that.
Well, it's quite funny. Right? I don't know if you've ever told you the story, but so we're on the rig, and we were on the, I won't say what rig, but we were on a rig in the North Sea, and we dismantled the pipe racking system. So it's a big thing that moves drill pipe.
Yeah.
And it took us a couple of days, but we got this huge, like, 20-metre section laid out on the pipe deck, and there's me and 2 other guys. So I was a derrickman at the time, and so my job was to secure this thing. And it had like this machine that would move like up and down, but it's now horizontal. And they got me in there with this like chain pulley system to drag it in, and it was on rollers. Nobody considered that gravity had been centralized. So as I shifted it, it just started to roll, but nobody was looking at it. And this thing weighed like about 3 ton.
Oh my God.
And somebody just went, Stevie! And I looked round, and I'm in the inside of this machine on the tracks. I don't know how. I don't know how I managed to do this, but I managed to jump out. And the thing just went.
Oh my God.
And I looked and I was like, that would have been my legs. And I just looked over like that, and I just seen these eyes. And he was like,
I can picture it.
yeah, and his job is safety coach.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, fuck. And he just went, you know, like no words were exchanged. And I was like, and he went, like, we won't say anything about this.
Too much paperwork.
Too much paperwork. We know you're a bit of a dickhead sometimes.
Yep.
We're good. Later on, we never spoke about it.
Oh,
But there was like this knowing glance now and again, like, and he'd be like, and I'm like,
I watched that.
fucking hell. But we never brought it up again. So yeah, that was a funny day. But yeah, God, you know, he's such a character. But yeah, the reason we're here to talk about it is this wound that is so difficult to broach in life. People talk about mental health quite a lot these days.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it's a big thing now.
It's a big thing, and it's
Yeah.
great. You can get lost in that noise. So sometimes bringing it right to the heart, back home, is having the hardest conversations in the world with the most meaning. So I'm trying to be transparent in my life. I've been talking about growing up without a dad.
Yep.
Recently I've had some issues with me and my boy, my son. We're got a knuckle in the head, you know, and it's tough. It's so tough. And it's hard to talk about these things, but what happened to you?
Oh. Well, I don't really know where to start. We had the best growing up ever. Like, Dad was always there. He was so happy, but people say that it's always the happiest people around you that struggle. And I don't know if it was that masculinity that kind of pulled him back from opening up.
Yeah.
But it's strange because speaking to people now, looking back, everyone on the rig would go to Dad.
Yeah.
And the amount of times Dad would come home and speak about people and everything like that. But where did Dad go? There was obviously somewhere he needed to go, but he obviously just felt that it was too much, or I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about.
It is.
And I can feel myself getting emotional here because I was so close to him. He was one
Yeah.
of my dearest friends. I mean,
He
not
spoke to
just
you about a lot.
yeah?
He did.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
He did.
He's probably a lying bastard.
Probably. I'd say the same to your face.
Did he give the old, like, see? No, that look.
We would get looks as
Would you?
kids. We would
You
get
would get
looks,
looks.
and you knew you were in trouble.
I know that look. He did. It's weird because, like, he did have a sort of. It's weird for me to admit this, right? Because I grew up without a dad, and
Yeah.
I guess I've always leaned to sort of like caring, nurture, or men who have a fathering instinct of
Yeah.
them. And I guess I've always been attached or attracted to friends, people in my life, especially in the army. You know, I've always gone to the most masculine group.
Yeah.
You know, where's the tough crowd? Where's the nightmare crowd? You'll find me in the
That's
middle.
where I'm going.
That's where I'm going. So, but with Don, with your dad, he gave a shit.
He did.
I mean,
About everybody.
He really fucking cared.
He
And
did.
it wasn't like he would like listen to you and be, right, I've got to go, mate.
Aye. He would sit for hours.
Yeah, he would pick up the phone. Yeah, you have to cancel that meeting, but I'll be down in about an hour. I'd
Yeah.
be like, Don, you don't have to do that. He's like, it's done.
But he did.
Like, fucking hell, mate. Like, all right, so you could offload then.
Yeah.
But listening to you saying, where did Dad go to? That's fucking hell. That's like,
Yeah.
so a couple of years ago,
Yep.
I know this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, I was in my kitchen and my son was in the living room.
Yep.
I was cooking spaghetti bolognese.
Lovely.
Magic, right? Council food through and through. Cooking spag bol, right? And I remember it was bonny day outside and Jack was, I think he was playing a PlayStation or he was playing Minecraft, I think, 'cause I
Yeah.
remember the music, you know, that melody. And life's good, I'm happy, just me and my boy, and I'm cooking them supper. Maybe I got a glass of wine, I think, music on my computer, and a friend of mine, John Stoddart, phoned up, and
I
was like,
recognise that name.
yeah, and he, I was like, oh, picked up, hey mate, how's it going? You know, straight into it. Fuck you wanting? And he's like, where are you? I said, I'm at home. Why? He says, have you heard what's happened to Don? I was like, oh fuck's sake, what's he done? Has he broken on a motorbike? What's he done? Has he dyed his moustache?
Aye, something silly.
Something daft. And he says, no mate. He says, fucking hell. He says, no, he's died. He was offshore and there's been an incident.
Yeah.
And I remember just staring into this this pan of spaghetti bolognese. I was speechless.
Yeah.
My friend, and I've lost a lot of friends from the military, friends at home, and it just seemed like this one felt so surreal because he's the guy that we would go to.
That you would go to.
And it didn't make any sense. And I can't remember anything after what he said there.
No.
I don't remember a fucking thing about that conversation. I just remember this carving, like being taken out of me, like, that's my friend. And I remember the next couple of hours thinking, oh my God, the Burns,
Yeah.
his daughters, the grandkids, the family, all that stuff. And I just remember thinking, fuck, where was you? How did that experience land in your kind of...
I was at work.
Fuck.
I was at work. We were all at work. Mum was the only one at home, and Mum was my childcare at that time.
Okay.
So she had Freddie. So she got the phone call, or no, I think the police went to the door, and she had Freddie, and she obviously was just, I don't know what they said to her, but I got the phone call when I was at work, and I didn't really know what was happening. It was my mum on the phone, and because I work at Arnold Clark,
Okay.
so I just answered the phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mum, is that you? What are you phoning me here for? Like, I've got a mobile.
I'm just selling you a car.
What are you doing? And she's like, Kate, I need to speak to Michelle. And I was like, my mum wants to speak to my boss. Like, what? So I knew something was wrong. And instantly, I didn't think Dad.
No.
Dad was working. I just thought my mum's got Freddie. So I thought it was Freddie. Something's happened to the bairn. So Michelle took the phone, and then she came and got me from the desk, and she took me into the office, and she said, I could tell there was something wrong. And I was just crying because I knew it was Freddie. That was it. That's all that was going on in my mind. Yeah. And then I just remember her saying, it's your dad, and they can't find him on the rig. Everyone's looking for him, but they can't find him. She's like, so you need to go home. We're sending you home. But I'd car share driving into work that morning, so I didn't have a vehicle to get home in. Fuck. So they got one of the other staff members to drive me home, and it's only Elgin to Bucky's not far, but it felt like forever. Okay. It took ages, and I was the last one to get home. So everyone knew before I knew. All I knew at that point in time was just Dad's missing. Yeah. And I thought, there's plenty of people there. They'll find him. He'll be fine. But then I got in, and I remember Laura was standing in the kitchen, our oldest sister, and I remember Carly being at the back door of my mum's house, because I just went straight to my mum's, and Mum was in the garden, and she was crying, and Carly was crying, and I was like, what's going on? Like, as I walked in past Laura, she was like, they're outside. And I went outside, and I was like, what's going on? And then they were like, Kate, it's your dad. They were like, he's not missing. And they said, like, Dad's died. And I just remember like screaming in the garden, like, no, obviously not like that, but there was a bit more emotion there. But I was just...
You're so your dad's daughter, you know that? A really dark moment, you just put comedy into it.
That's what he would do. That's what he would do. People say that to me all the time. You're your dad's daughter. I know.
You know, that's weird. You've just totally like made me feel good there because I'm ex-forces and that is exactly what they're like in that world. That's a healthy thing, by the way.
It is good. It's good. We'll laugh, not cry.
Fuck, this is hard to talk about.
Yeah. And I don't know how I can't really remember how I found out what he'd done. I can't remember the conversations. I feel like I've blocked a lot of it out. But obviously, I mean, the way that he went was quite a tough one. And it was I think I just was in denial to start with.
Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it. That could be anyone. Might not even be my dad. That they could have found somebody else that might not be dad. And I think this was like 4 days before he was due to come off the rig to come home. And I remember saying to my mum, like, why didn't he just wait? Why couldn't he just do another 4 days? Like, why? Why then? Why couldn't he just come home and speak to us? So you kind of go through you blame yourself for not noticing, for not picking up on anything. Was there signs? But he was the type of person that he cared about everyone, and he wouldn't want anyone to know that there was something wrong, or didn't want to show it. But it was tough.
That's hard. Yeah, it's he's such a good bloke. I miss him.
Yeah, we all do.
I know. And what happened after that? Like that day, like in the days, like, because I know this is a tough thing, but what was it like? Because there's so many people out there that have gone through this.
There is. And I think it's different for everyone. And I think for me personally, it didn't hit me to start with.
Okay.
Like at all. My mum was distraught. Like I could see the emotions from Harry, Laura, Carly, my mum, and I was just like, all I could think in my head, and it was looking back, it's stupid, was like, why am I not upset? And I would beat myself up, like, why am I not upset? Like, do I not care?
Grief is a tremendously powerful emotion.
Horrible thing.
It's a horrible thing.
It's a horrible thing.
We can talk about like grief and that as well, because it's something it's quite a powerful teacher.
It is.
It's fucking brutal.
You learn from it when you go through it, but you don't know what you're away to go through when it hits you.
Fuck, that is.
But I think a big part of it was family and getting through it as a family, and all speaking to each other and all just listening to each other and just being there for each other.
Yeah.
Was the only way we could get through it.
So that next couple of days, you're saying like it was a couple of days before it really kind of sunk in? Like,
yeah, I was due to pick up Dad from the train station.
So you were going to go and pick him up?
I was going to go and get him from Keith at the train station.
Oh, bastard.
I know. And I just had it in my head that it wasn't Dad. And I don't know why. But I can't really remember how I felt.
Yeah.
I just thought, it's nae Dad. I'm going to go get him. So I got in my car and everyone was like, Dad's nae getting off that train. I was like, but he might.
So
he might be there.
Car to
so
go.
I'm getting in my car and I'm driving to Keith.
You actually did this?
I did. On the train that he was due to be getting on. And I got to Keith and it said the train was delayed. So it didn't even come anyway.
Holy fuck.
But I was expecting him to just come home.
Yeah, just
walk in the door. And he wasn't. And then when I got to Keith and I seen that and I thought, I just wanted to see the train. I wanted to see him walk off it or not walk off it. I needed clarification that it was Dad. But I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Until me and Mum went through to Aberdeen. We came through here and we had to go to the police station and Mum had to confirm that it was Dad. So I went with her because I felt like I needed to.
That's really brave.
It's something, I think in the circumstances, Mum was before we went, we didn't know what to expect. We knew how he died, so we knew he might not look as we remember or as you want to remember him.
Yeah, that's a powerful distinction, Caitlin.
So going, my mum was prepping me. She was like, if you get there and you decide you don't want to go in, like, that's fine. Like, but if you want to come, like, I'm not going to stop you. And in my head, I was it's nae dad anyway. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Mum went in first, just so that she could go in, just make sure that it wasn't like something she didn't want me to see.
Yeah.
And then she came out and she reassured me. She said, are you sure you want to go in? Like, he looks fine, but are you sure you want to go in? And I was like, yeah, I need to for me.
Yeah.
And it was quite something. It was. I don't know. I remember going in and seeing him, and he was behind the glass, so like you couldn't touch him or anything, but he was just lying there and he just looked so peaceful. And I just remember just watching him, and it felt like forever just standing watching him, but I don't know how long it was. It was maybe only like 5 minutes, but I felt something, and I don't know what that something was, but it felt, it's a silly thing to say in the moment, but it felt nice. Like, I felt comfort from seeing him. But he just looked really peaceful. And considering what his body had went through, he actually looked really handsome. He still looked like him.
He still looked like a good-looking bastard.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
No. And I think that's something I'll hold forever.
Yeah.
Was that moment. In that time.
So, they're going through this.
Yeah.
And now you're getting things confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Because that first spot of grief, that shock.
Yeah.
No, doubt is the first kind of like, no, not
today.
Not today.
This isn't happening to me.
This is not happening. This is not meant to happen to our story, our life.
This isn't, you see this on the telly.
We know
that doesn't happen to people like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here it is. You've gone through so many emotions. Wanting to go and see him at the train.
Yeah.
Wanting him to just turn up.
Mm-hmm.
Then going to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that?
It was all more... Well, between those two stages, it was... The hardest bit was contacting people and telling people.
Okay.
You need to phone the family, your friends, and Dad was such a popular man. And even with, like, our friends as kids, like, they were like a kid's home. They would take in all our pals. Like, everyone was coming in to stay for weeks. Aye, they just come in and out as please.
Feed in the streets.
I'm moving in this week. But no, telling everyone was really difficult. And I remember phoning people and I would be like, Mom, you're going to have to do it for me. And Mom's just lost her husband. And here I am passing her the phone to tell somebody that my dad's passed away.
Yeah.
Like, it was relying on each other for everything. But I think it was just difficult moving forward and getting everything organised. And I think we found a lot of comfort, all of us, in the Facebook posts, the comments that people would put on our things, like how lovely a man he was, how people remember him, funny times that they had, the messages we got. It was just, it put it into perspective how many hearts he touched.
He was loved.
He was.
He still is.
It was like he had two different families. He had his offshore family and he's had his works family. And it was a big thing for us that everyone was welcome and everyone was appreciated. Every message that we got, like, it's not just you thinking about us, we're thinking about you too. Because he was a gentle giant.
He was, wasn't he?
He was.
Big old gentle giant with the handlebars.
With the handlebars.
It's tough talking about this, isn't it?
It is.
You're his daughter. going through this, I can only imagine. I can't know.
Yeah.
What kind of wisdom have you found from this? What kind of lessons or something that, that you've taken from such an emotional experience, such a powerful experience to go through? Like what kind of wisdom is there in there? Because it's as hard as it is.
It's a tough one.
Because we talk about wisdom, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like divorce.
Yeah.
Or, you have a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
You got into trouble with the police, experience.
Mm-hmm.
You get lessons from that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not so much wisdom in there.
Yeah.
There's bits and bobs, but something as profound as lost at this level of kind of grief. There is so much within it.
Mm-hmm.
What could you tell anyone that's going through something similar right now?
Keep your family close. Lean on each other, but know when you need to be leant on for someone else. Everyone goes through stages of grief at different times. There was loads of times that, I would be feeling angry, my mum would be feeling upset, somebody else would be feeling a total different, denial. There's loads of different stages of grief, and nobody goes through them at the same times for the same length of time. But when you're in that, just rely on each other.
Yeah.
I think family and friends is the biggest thing to help not get you through it, because I don't think you ever get through it. I think it's always there, but you need each other.
There's strength in needing people.
There is. And it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
You need to be able to ask people for help. You need to recognise when you need help.
You see that phrase, it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a problem with that for a few years, because people tend to post it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay to not be okay. And right, but where's your context?
Mm-hmm.
That's content.
Mm-hmm.
It's a post or a meme or a flashy thing they put on Instagram kind of thing. Where's the story?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you? Don't tell me it's okay to not be okay. We all can know that.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually talking from substance.
Yeah.
You're talking from lived, really tough, the hardest thing you've gone through.
I would say, yeah.
So when
the hardest thing any of us have gone through.
So when you say it, it has weight.
It does. You feel it.
Yeah. Tell me something funny about your dad.
Oh. Do you know what? See, when people ask me stuff like this, I'm
You're
like, I can't remember.
It's like, tell them
I don't know who he is.
Tell me a good joke.
Oh, there's just so much stuff. But see, when I'm on the spot, I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, man.
Something will come. Something will come.
So, humour.
Humour was a big thing.
Does humour play in this?
Yeah.
So, were there moments where even when the grief and the fucking tragedy, it's so painful, but when it's at its highest, were there moments of laughter?
There was, and there were, especially with the kids. I think the kids were a big thing. 100%. I think if it wasn't for Freddie, he got me through a lot. And he was only 1.5.
Wow.
The apple of Dad's eye.
Yeah.
Didn't care about me or his dad. He was the apple of my dad's eye.
Yeah.
Would walk past me. If I went to go pick up Dad, I'd walk in the door. Freddie would be like, right past me, up to his granddad. I was like, right, okay.
That's it.
Knows how to play it. But no, he got me through a lot. And I can't remember what the question was.
You're so your dad's daughter. I forgot the question was.
Rewind.
Talking about his moustache.
Aye.
No, humour.
Humour, yes.
Humour, yeah.
So I think there was fun times in it all. But I think now, humour's a big bit for me. I laugh it off.
Wow.
Like just now.
That's fucking hard to get to.
Yeah. But I think for a lot of times back in 2019, it was more like, it was the strangest year of my life. Like, the dynamics of how our family changed. We grew apart, we got back together. There was lots of ups and downs, but I mean, yeah. there was one moment that sticks in my head, and it's not necessarily humour, but I remember it was only a few days after. It was between the passing and the funeral, and I just felt so overwhelmed. I had enough, but I was just like, I can't listen to this anymore. And I went upstairs, and to what was my old bedroom and then the spare room at my mum and dad's, I just remember laying on the bed crying. And Laura and Carly came upstairs, and if anyone that knows me and Carly, we love a bosey.
Okay.
We love a bosey. But Laura, not so much. But I just remember they got onto the bed, and we were all just hugging on the bed for ages. We just laid on the bed, hugging. And that sticks with me.
Yeah.
That is like one of the memories out of that time of my life that really I remember, and I cherish it. It was a special moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I bosey Carly all the time, but Laura nae so much. Laura's nae a hugger.
To anyone not listening that's for Scotland, a bosey is a cuddle. And they're the best bosies.
They're the best
Bosies
bosies.
Bosies fix everything.
They do.
Maybe that's the
They
wisdom.
do.
Maybe
That's the wisdom that's
the
coming
wisdom.
from today. Just geese a bosey.
Geese a bosey, geese a cuddle. It's Kenneth, it's you know when like there's so many videos on the internet of people, you know, like they're on bridges, they're away to do something daft, and you see them being dragged off, and then they're just held.
They're held.
It's like an instinctual thing.
Yeah.
So to hear you say that, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bosey.
A bosey.
That's fucking ace.
And one of Dad's bosies, there was something in that.
He used to give reach arounds.
You were like squished.
He's such a big fucking
Aye.
bloke.
And
I mean,
I'm pushing it 5'2".
aye. I mean, Jesus, like, Ken, you wanted a bosey for him. Ken,
You did.
I mean, I'm sick of this fucking job. Come here, man. And it's like, be like, this is getting a bit too good. This.
I'm a bit comfy.
I'm a bit comfy, aye. No, I miss him, eh?
Yeah. It's a tough one. I think growing up without him, because I was only, it was like 2 weeks before my 21st. And then that was the weirdest birthday ever.
Because it's your 21st.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like the last big one kind of.
It is, isn't it? Before 50.
Before 50. Well, I was going to say 40, like, well, I mean, can't.
Oh, right, okay.
No,
40.
aye.
It was just a weird one. Can't remember what I was saying.
Talking about you. I can't remember either.
Oh, I've lost it.
This is what these conversations are hard, aren't they? Like,
You think about something and then it's gone.
So, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
What's it like now?
Different. I mean, there's days where you don't think about it, but then there's days where you feel guilty because you've not thought about it. But you'll always have the memories, and you'll always have the family around you, and you'll always have the thoughts, he's there, we can go see him, but it's not the same. It's not having him there. I mean, for any of the new grandkids that they've got, they've not met their granda.
Yeah.
And the ones that were too young to remember him now, like I've got a wee photo book for Freddie, and it's got pictures of him and my dad in it, and he can look at it. But seeing that, and Brody's now not in those pictures, it's just life. Things that you should be celebrating, but he's not here to celebrate with.
Okay.
A big thing for me was getting engaged and marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Your dad walks you down the aisle. What am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always things there that's going to remind you that he's not here. And especially at times where you're not, I could be driving down the road and it just hits you. Yeah, it hits you at the wrong time and you're like, for God's sake, neither day.
So what do you feel when you think it?
Horrible.
Feel angry?
Aye. A lot of it's anger. At myself.
Why?
I think.
What, for feeling angry?
Aye, because I didn't want to feel angry because he done what he needed to do.
Yeah.
He needed to do that, and that's what he was doing. And that's not fine, obviously, but you need to do what you need to do, kind of thing. But anger plays a big part of it. And I feel like I don't cry about it a lot, and that also makes me angry. But when I do cry about it, I'm like hysterical.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad!
Melting.
Meltdown. Third time this week.
Totally healthy to feel anger.
It is.
But at the same time, I get it.
Yeah, I just don't want to feel angry at him. But you can't help it sometimes. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't speak for my siblings, my mom, anybody else. But I'd definitely say anger's there for, or was at some point in grief for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard, eh? Like, I'm just
Holding it in.
yeah, a little bit, and it's there's a lot to unpack going through something like that.
Yeah.
And what would you say has been the most profound sort of like thing for yourself? Not for you to be any kind of person to your family or friends, or how you had felt like you might have had to behave, not how you were when you were feeling angry. And what do you think has been the most profound or the most gentle thing that has come into your kind of experience from going through this?
I honestly don't know. I just feel like you feel so much that there's a lot to take from it, but at this point, I still don't think I've came to terms with it, but it took a while for it to hit me. So I feel like I just put it away.
Yeah.
Like I say it to my mum, it's like, it's in my attic. I've locked it in a box in my attic.
That's
like,
what you say, is it?
That's what I say. That's where it needs to be just now.
Yeah.
And when I want to go to it, I will unpack it. And I'll unpack it when I'm ready to unpack it.
You know what? Congratulations on that, because that's fucking brave. And that's okay.
That was therapy that taught me that.
I was going to say, that's pretty good. I've heard those words before. The words I got told were, I was in seeing a doctor and I had the world on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's quite strange actually, because when I left the army, I wanted to take my own life. I didn't want to be here because I'd seen a kid blown up when I was 18. And
that's awful.
What was more awful was the fact that we all got ordered to leave them at the side of the road.
Oh my God.
And we drove off, and I just remember going away, and I was only 18, and I just remember thinking, this is wrong.
Wrong.
Like, can't save him.
No.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's when it all kind of opened up.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I had trauma before that.
No.
Growing up without a dad, growing up in a broken home.
Yeah.
Come from a family of alcoholics. You know, when I got introduced to alcohol quite young. And so my younger years were wild. In and out with the police.
Yeah.
Getting arrested, fighting. So you implode that with darkness and war. You've got a recipe for a calamity. And when I came in, there was a bunch. That was just Kosovo, and then there was Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started losing friends. I didn't know I had PTSD.
Yeah.
Didn't know all that kind of stuff. And I remember coming home and thinking, I'm cursed. Whatever this is that's inside of me, I didn't even know depression was a word.
No.
I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't even know what the words like entrepreneurship were, or I had no idea about this stuff. My world was the military.
Yeah.
I fucking lived and breathed. I would put my uniform on, my beret on, and I embodied that. I missed that so much.
Yeah.
So when that got taken away from me, no identity. And then I just remember thinking, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah.
I am worthless. Clearly, I don't want to be here, and I'm going to hurt those around me. When I came out of that, I remember feeling a despair. But fucking forgetting where I'm going here. I'm thinking of so much stuff. I just remember missing my friend. I remember missing those that aren't here, and I remember missing a kind of part of myself that isn't here, listening to you talk, it's actually helping heal a part of me.
That's amazing.
Because I still struggle.
Yeah, we all do.
And I guess I've been a bit lax at being open
And honest.
and honest.
Yeah.
And right now I'm going through something, and listening to you, I'm like, I'll be honest with you, when you came on here, I was so worried because I'm like, she's going to be a greeting wreck, she's going to be greeting, there's going to be makeup, there's going to be a mess, she's going to storm out. Like, I honestly thought this is either going to go one or two ways. It's going to go,
I've either made the best
I've either
decision
made
or
the
the
best
worst.
decision or the worst. I'm like, have I done the right thing? And getting my old buddy's daughter on, I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm sitting here going, she's so fucking strong and brave, and
I just don't know what I'd do with it. I don't.
so I'm an ex-army. I've gone through all this shit, and I feel like a fucking wreck sometimes.
Yeah, but
You know,
that's normal.
doesn't feel like it at times, mate.
No.
What would you tell someone going through this who is on the edge?
Get help.
Where do they go? What does get when you're
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
There's loads of people that's there to listen. Doctors, family, friends, anyone. I would much rather, if it was anyone I knew, I would much rather sit and listen to somebody than go to their funeral.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone was to speak to one of their family members, they would think the same. Our lives get so busy that I think we just forget to put each other first, listen to each other, and make sure we're all okay.
Yeah.
It gets lost in life sometimes.
That's good. So, what is something that you've been telling yourself but you have not been telling the world?
Oh my God. I honestly don't know.
I ask this question because that's usually where people are hiding. So, a couple of years ago, and I'll give my kind of thing here because that's only fair. A couple of years ago, I hadn't seen my son for a few years, and the pandemic was in full swing. So was my desire for whiskey and wine. I spent a long time alone. Isolation, I learned, was the hardest kind of competitor I'd ever been up against. I'd been through war. I'd been through so much stuff. Spending time alone.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck.
It's lonely.
It's fucking loneliness is an awful place.
It is awful.
And the reason I ask this because it's kind of, I was hoping it's kind of going to go here because loneliness is where we feel the hardest kind of feelings. And I'd been hiding from myself. I was totally hiding from myself. And I got drunk on TikTok. I know. How ridiculous. That's exactly what the world should be saying about that. Cheers, Caitlin.
That's okay.
Thanks, mate. Well, that just shifted gear, didn't it? Prick. Well, that's what you get. So, I was trying to be entertaining. I didn't know I was making a fucking cunt of myself. I was
That's so
making
funny.
an absolute fucking arse of myself. And I didn't mean it to get that way, but I'd been holding it all in.
Yeah.
And I'm either an introvert or I am the fucking centre of the spotlight.
Centre of attention.
I love it. I do.
Yeah.
I like it. I do. And I don't deny it.
Yeah.
But I drank a bottle of whiskey in a couple of hours.
Oh.
And then I can't really remember. I've got kind of figments of it. I really kind of did.
It's probably better that you don't remember.
Oh, but I don't need to because I woke up on the top landing of my stairs with a serious fucking hangover. Phone in one hand.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, phone in one hand and a dead hand in like the other arm was hanging over the stairs. So I'd like all the blood had kind of stopped. I was like, oh. I woke up. And when we were young, it used to be, oh my God, where's my wallet? How much have I spent?
Where's my phone?
Where's my phone? It's in my hand. I'd been on TikTok live and I fell apart. I'm like sobbing, greeting. You know, one of that greets where like,
yeah. All right, you can't have it.
It was one of them and I'm like, I can't believe this. And I went the strangest fucking feeling, right? Shame.
Really?
The shame. Oh my God. the fucking shame. What are they going to think? And it's out there now.
I think that's such a big thing for a lot of people is what are other people going to think? What do other people see? And how are they going to perceive it? But it doesn't matter, really. It's only how you feel about it. And that's what matters.
Well, I went to delete it.
Oh.
It's still there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I thought, I am lying to myself.
Yeah.
Time to stop bullshitting me.
Yeah.
Time to just be like, if this is who I am right now, as embarrassing as it is,
then that's that.
Then at least it's honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of freed a part of me, you know, and it kind of vindicated me a little bit as well. Because the amount of people, see when you put yourself online, the amount of people go, oh, well done, it's really good what you're doing. Full of shit. You're a liar. You're fake. You're this, you're that. Yeah. There was no fake in that.
No.
And in a world where we're on Instagram, we're shining a light on all the good.
Yeah.
I think we need to get away from that bullshit.
I think so. A lot of it is bullshit.
So, one final question, mate.
Oh.
No, was you about to say something?
No.
What would you tell young people going through it right now? Like, what would you tell kind of like teenagers? The world does talk a lot about how hard it is on men. And I know this has been this subject. But in light of, you know, our company here, like, what would you say to young women going through it right now?
Going through
mental health, isolation, shame, or struggles, whatever it is that they're feeling like, because women do have, and there's a lot of fakeness on social media, and I think people think, oh, I want to look like that I want that, but that's not real life. Like these influencers and everything, it's not real life. That's just a snippet of their life. Everybody puts the good bits on Instagram. They don't put the bad bits on. And somebody's life could be totally different. But I think you do you. Do what you need to do for yourself. And try not to care what other people think. And that's difficult. It's hard.
And I'm telling myself this as I'm speaking it because that's exactly what I need to do.
Do you know what? That has set me back so many years in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm 42 and I'm still sometimes in a situation where the first thing I think, how will this make them feel?
Yeah.
What a lot of shit that is. So many wasted years. But yeah.
I'm like it. I'm so bad for that. Chris tells me all the time. I can see him smiling.
But it's so true. We do, you know, like we all think we're so confident and great, and it's nice to let that out in the world.
It is.
But let's not deny the fact that we are.
Life is just real life, and shit happens.
Do you know?
It's not all like beautiful holidays and everything that people see online at all.
So you think social media's?
I think it's bullshit.
It isn't. A lot of it's bullshit.
I hate it. I love it. I'm on it. Yeah. But I fucking hate it.
Doom scrolling. It's so good.
Again. Chris is like, what are you even looking at? I'm like, nothing, but it's fun.
It's basically just digital people watching.
It is.
Because I love people watching.
I love people watching. He hates it. He goes nuts. I can see him. We're sitting in Union Square and he's like, stop it. And I'm like.
When we're on holiday and stuff like that, we're like, oh, I wonder what they do for a living. You're looking at the interactions.
What are they gone?
These are the kinds of things that we all talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is like, of all this stuff? You've been through a lot, mate.
Mm-hmm.
You seem very well together for having gone through something. I honestly, like, I wish I had.
I knew it would be one thing or the other. I thought I'm going to be a wreck or I'm just going to laugh my way through it.
Well, for fuck's sake, I'm trying to grow social media here. Can you not just like put the waterworks on for a minute?
Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of fake it here. First the water drops.
Cut. No, I think it's good because, there's a lot of bullshit out there.
There is.
Just
need to take a minute for yourself.
Yeah.
When you need it.
Or not go on TikTok when you've had whiskey.
Aye, that's a good life lesson.
Yeah, it was a big life lesson.
Yeah. Maybe you should just delete TikTok.
I didn't really use it for much after that. Didn't really use it much after that. You know, it wasn't quite the same.
I'll be Facebook Lives next.
No, we're not going down that path. No, listen, mate, is there anything you would like to say to anyone listening to this who's gone through something similar or who is going through just life in life?
Yeah,
you know,
just feel what you need to feel. And if that's anger, if it's upset, if it's denial, just soak it up. Feel it when you need to feel it. but find something that's going to get you out of it. Find something to pull you through, or someone to pull you through. Because everyone, hopefully, everyone has someone that would be there to help them get through something, whatever that may be. But just, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling when you feel it.
Thank you so much, Caitlin.
No problem.
This has been an ace one. I'm so glad you came down. Turned into a bit of a comedy sketch.
I can. Thank me later.
Yeah, honestly, thank you so much.
No problem.
And
I'm surprised how well I held it together, I'm not going to lie.
no, honestly, and I just want to finish off by saying it's a privilege to know your dad. It's an even greater privilege to know you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That makes me a bit emotional. Can we just stop that?
Keep the cameras rolling.
No. Cut.
Right. Well, that's that one then. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Magic.